I don't know if people can still hear that in the distance, but a crew of like BMX motorcycles just drove by, sort of a pack. It's very unusual. And of course, we've got a pack of Verizon trucks. Been a staple during this pandemic, which remains ongoing. It's a little bit unseasonably cool right now here, June, 16th? July, 16th. This is the dog days of summer, as it were, but it's 75 and breezy. It's beautiful. Quite nice. A lot of Verizon trucks around. Been kind of under the radar most of the day. I was just on Shepard Ambellis's radio show. People can go to IntelliHub.com, learn and hear more about Shepard. But I happened to catch a little news item informing me that the High Line has just reopened. People who've been watching the show are going to recall that that's a park that I enjoy. Been over there a few times during the pandemic, noticing that it's closed. And I just think it's an interesting choice amid all the brazen attacks on NYPD, the dramatic increase of gun violence and violent crime in general. Now seems like the perfect time to reopen New York's most compact park. Actually, it doesn't seem like that, but there's just been an amazing array of incredibly poor decisions being made by Mayor Bill de Blasio. This seems to be a much better temperature for operating the camera equipment at. Once it starts hitting 90 degrees out here, it's very prone to overheating. People have seen that with some of the Sunday with Charles episodes we've been doing lately. They do seem to get back online well enough. I want to remind people that when there is a failure in a broadcast, I always make an effort to assemble it to its full, make sort of a director's cut with all the parts put together in one convenient video that usually also involves remastered audio and just a better quality experience that I put onto subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsource the truth for sponsors to enjoy. Remember, if you're watching on Patreon on your iOS or Android device, do not use the Patreon app. It is not compatible with the security settings that I use. But if you watch on Chrome or Safari on the phone or the iPad, it works absolutely fine. That's the number one tech support request I get from people. You can see across the street, east of 8th, which is a restaurant that I didn't like too much. It was a very large space and was popular. It's out of business. Cineopolis, which is the movie theater, that was fairly recently upgraded. It's actually a nice movie theater, but that is boarded up. And I just can't imagine this space going back into business. I mean, look at how big that is. If a developer were to wreck that and put apartments in there, could generate, I think, a lot more revenue than a movie theater. I've been talking to a bunch of my friends from Hollywood days about how Hollywood is obsolete and I think done. There's a lot of talk in California and some of the trade newspapers that I still look at, like Variety and stuff, about reshaping Hollywood. I'm talking to some of my friends about how life on set has changed. Certain areas of the crew are isolated now. Video Village, where I used to hang out quite a lot, is usually off-site. So for people who enjoyed that aspect of the business, being there on set and working, it's going to be, I guess, much more like an office job now, which, I don't know, maybe that's okay. I just don't think that the traditional way of doing things in Hollywood makes sense anymore. It was born out of the sheer expense of movie making, and now that the tools have been so commoditized and the distribution has been so commoditized, you look at the reach that some people have on YouTube and social media video sharing sites. You could make a great documentary, great piece of entertainment and put it out on YouTube, put it out on Patreon, Subscribestar, Vimeo, any of these things, BitChute, DLive. You don't need a distributor. You don't need millions of dollars from somebody who's going to tell you how to do it. And I just don't think that people are going to... I anticipated that movie theaters were going to go out of business 10 years ago. So it's amazing to me that they've stayed open as long as they have. We can see BBQs is back in business. I must admit, I do like BBQs. They have good rotisserie chicken, and if you're in the mood for a guilty pleasure, some ribs, some fries. It is delicious, and they've built up their outdoor space. There's a lot of this going on now in New York. Restaurants that have the ability to have put outdoor tables, and BBQ's got kind of a few there. It's nothing compared to the size of the interior space of the restaurant. And of course, you could not do this if you had the normal level of sidewalk traffic that New York usually has. You see the smaller restaurants there across the street. I'm not familiar with that one exactly. I don't think I've been there before, but they've just got a couple tables. I guess it's better than nothing. It allows them to get back, but it's still problematic. There were reports of, look, you got trash right next to it right there, so I don't know how appetizing that is. We're also probably less than an hour from sundown, and once it gets dark out here, it's going to be pretty dangerous. When I got back from court yesterday, I had to drive because Amtrak and all airlines have dramatically reduced their service between here and Richmond, Virginia. So the timing of when I could go there, and I would have had to spend 2 days there to be able to take the train, which is what I normally like to do. It's a lot less expensive than the flight, and I don't have to go all the way to the airport, and I can do my work on the train, so it's not like a total loss of 11 hours in travel on the round trip. I can sit on the train and do my work and everything. But now I can't do that. I have to drive and concentrate, and obviously can do nothing else for the nearly 6 hours in each direction. So there's so much of our freedoms that have been taken away. Governor Cuomo doesn't want anyone from any of, yesterday I think it was a total of 22 states, that if you're coming to New York, you're going to be subject to quarantine and probably contact tracing. That's draconian. Very scary. I was just talking to some people on Shepard's radio show who were mentioning a guy who had to appear in family court, and he's very, very against the mask, as am I. I did have to wear a face covering in court yesterday, and obviously the consequences of exploding that court case, I wasn't prepared to make my stand for the anti-mask face covering rights in that moment. I had a clear plastic face covering I was wearing throughout. And for people who are in a similar situation where you're just compelled to do it, some people need to do it for work, and of course it's important for us to stand up for the Constitution, but is one person willing to lose their job and sacrifice their own? I don't know. A lot of people out there are going to say we should. But there is a lot at stake in this court case, and for me to make a big deal out of that with the judge, I don't think would have had an impact on the mandatory mask wearing, and I do think it would have had an extremely negative impact on the outcome of the court case. So we see how we're getting, David Icke would call it the totalitarian tiptoe, but we see how we're getting slow walk to this world where what happens a year from now if I'm not allowed into the court case without scanning my chip for the vaccine. Very troubling times. But for now, I had to wear the plastic shield face covering yesterday. And what I was going to say is, for people who are in a situation where they must, I think the face covering is, at least from a practical standpoint, less objectionable in that, it stands off from your actual mouth a few inches. And I think that air can flow a little more freely through there. The one I have is kind of open at the top. It just attaches to a pair of plastic glasses that I wear over my regular glasses, and it's a clear plastic shield in front of my face. I like it because people can still see my facial expression. If everybody was using these, we'd at least not be losing the interpersonal contact of the body language of looking at someone's face. Are they smiling? Are they frowning? I think there is probably some degree of lip reading going on when you're listening to someone speak, even if you're not hard of hearing or deaf or trained in lip reading, but it's one of those things that you've been doing all your life. I find it much more difficult. I'm asking people to repeat themselves much more often when they're wearing these face masks. And obviously that's nothing compared to the destruction of the Constitution and every business around, but these are these tiny little encroachments on our freedom, our quality of life. You can't go into a store. Everybody's giving you a hard time about not wearing a mask. You can't get a train to go where you need to go. There's just so many things that are adding up. And now there's been this, I I don't know, was it a clinical trial or some kind of initial trial? I haven't seen the actual news on this, but somebody was telling me that it was a very small group of people that got this Moderna messenger RNA vaccine as a part of a test or a trial or something. Here's somebody who thinks the sidewalk is for riding bicycles with their kid, teaching their kid to ride a bicycle on the sidewalk. That's not what you should do. You should ride a bike in the street. People are walking on the sidewalk. The Moderna messenger RNA vaccine, apparently they tested it on 45 people and half of them had negative outcomes, which is doctor talk for anything from you felt a little sick to you died. So I don't know exactly what those negative outcomes were, but I definitely do not like this messenger RNA vaccine. Now, I don't want to be an anti-science Luddite. It's possible that that technology could one day result in vaccines and medicines that would be better than anything else. Whoa! Whoa! That mail absolutely has to get there on time. Whoa! That mail truck is going crazy. So there you go. That's the beautiful outdoor dining experience where you're about to get run over by a mail truck. That was a little bit tense. Yeah, I mean, tension's running high out here. Now, this is interesting. The entrance to the High Line, people are going to recognize this. I've been over here many times during the pandemic, and this is the first time we've ever noticed, you know, less than a half a dozen ambulances. This is the FDNY ambulance depot. I wonder if they moved them out of here because the High Line is now open and they expected more people to be coming up and down these stairs, and they might notice that, what are all these ambulances doing out here? That's interesting. So we've got two visible. I don't think there's been less than 7. People can go back and look at the previous videos. I've done many here, but I wonder if there's a day where there's been any less than 7 people out here, or 7 ambulances out here. There's usually a ton. Is it closed or open?
The High Line is open. It's just that it is an exit.
Where's the entrance?
The entrance is at
Gansevoort. I got to go all the way down to Gansevoort.
Yeah,
Why
but
can't?
It ends here. It doesn't go any further.
Okay, but why can't I enter here?
Because it's all one way. It's not like you go
Gansevoort Street. That's crazy.
Social distancing. That's the only way.
Social distancing. So I got to go all the way downtown to get on the High Line. It's outdoors. What is the Citadel? Ma'am, what's the Citadel? How come you're not a park ranger? Wow. Nice snake. What is the Citadel?
It's a security company. That's all we are. We're working for the High Line.
So you got to go all the way down to Gansevoort Street to get into this thing, and it's exits only all over the place. That's terrible. It's open from Gansevoort to 23rd Street. So, I mean, people can see how far Gansevoort Street is from here.
Like 10 blocks.
It's more than 10 blocks. But we'll head down there. I mean, that is so stupid. Look at this. Everywhere you go, life is extended. It's windy, so let's not complain. People are going to tell me what to do with the microphone, and I got instructions for those people. I can't believe that. I was looking forward to my first little outing on the High Line. Who wants to bet $1 that when I get down to Gansevoort Street, they're going to say you can't go on there without a mask, even though it's outside? Just terrible. Move along, exactly. Chinese security? Is Citadel a Chinese company? I'm looking at the comments now. Yeah, she's doing her job, but you know what? That's what all the SS officers said also. This is just unbelievable. So upsetting. The park is closed. Welcome to the park, it's closed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was really looking forward to it as well. Okay, people don't want me to give her shit. Well, I just did, because she shouldn't be taking that job to keep people out of the park. Who made that decision? Oh, this is only an exit. Social distancing. We're outside. It's just getting worse and worse every day. Now they're saying that Texas might be closing down. Every place that was having, kind of like low coronavirus numbers or defying the lockdown orders, they now seem to be, announcing crazy increases in coronavirus. We know that Florida and Miami is the new hotspot. How did that happen? And why are they not shutting down these protests? That is still ongoing. If you want to go to the Brooklyn Bridge and smash the cops on the head with a bar, I don't even think you're getting arrested for that. But you can't come into the High Line. You got to go down to Gansevoort Street. It's more than 10 blocks. How many blocks between 23rd Street? First of all, maybe it's close to 10 blocks. It's below 14th Street for sure. Very upsetting. Very upsetting. I was supposed to have a special guest with me today, but that guest had to reschedule. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow's going to be a very, very busy day of broadcasting if we do get that special guest, because, of course, Fridays is always a double header for sponsor exclusives. We've got David Hawkins' Discovery CSI in the early afternoon, and then we've got John Cullen's coronavirus investigation in the evening. You can see some more of the High Line there. You can usually enter here as well. I'm sure they have Citadel security on that entrance. Yeah, I can see it from here. It's, where are your papers to enter the High Line? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So this is where we're at. There's another Fios truck over there. There are so many Verizon Fios trucks around, it's astounding. I did speak to some Verizon guys who were loading some fiber optic cable into the ground from a Verizon truck yesterday. And I asked them if Verizon was increasing the amount of fiber optic, expanding the bandwidth of the fiber optic network in New York. And the guy said, there's more fiber going into the ground every day. This guy was like 5,000% New York. He said it just like that. Here's a genius with the mask on in his car. Well done. So we're going to get up to that High Line. I bet $1 I get there and they won't let me up without a mask. I bet $1. I specifically did not bring a mask because I'm not doing that. I mean, there's certain places that I have to go where I suppose I have no choice. But this is really bad. This is really bad. Yeah, and next year, will it be you can't come into your court case unless you scan your hand and you have the chip? And the chip says you've had your DNA altered and you're getting a negative outcome from the messenger RNA thing that is driving the stock price of Moderna way up. Maybe. A lot of construction going on down here. I think we've looked at that before. It is kind of cool to go around all these different spots in the city and see what's going on. You got to check back pretty often. So this diner's got some outdoor dining. Nobody's going there. I mean, does this look like the kind of place you'd want to sit outside? That diner is not some place you go to enjoy the outdoors. You go in there, you order your hamburger, your tuna salad sandwich, whatever you're having, and then you leave. These places are not doing well. Boarded up. Well there, we can see some people inside the High Line. Normally that is filled with folks looking down on the traffic, if you can see those windows there. I'm approaching Gansevoort Street here. It's the Gansevoort Hotel. It's below 14th Street. It's maybe like 12 blocks from where I was. Not the end of the world. meatpacking district down here. Although I don't know if there's any meat packers that actually even remain. I think that's a golf, what do you call that? A driving range over there. That's the Chelsea Piers. Also a cool place to hang out that's probably closed. It's funny, all these places being closed are causing me to realize the exciting aspects of New York that I wasn't necessarily taking advantage of. It's making me sad that I could have and should have gone to some of those places while I had the option, is now it's maybe too late. We can see some of the Highline art up there. Let's see what the comments. Couldn't pay you to live here. Well, yeah, I mean, you're not catching it at its best right now. Socialists love the SFM, the stupid effing masks. It's true. They do. It's a way of controlling people. It's a way of indicating that they're on board with the groupthink and they don't care about science, logic, or anything other than making you do what they say you need to do. There was a big dust-up over, is it Nick Cannon? Is that the guy who got fired for making these comments that were maybe not the smartest comments to make? It's freedom of speech. They should let the guy say whatever he wants. And I guess the people who own Fox or Viacom or wherever he got fired from didn't like him. But this is the cancel culture. It's the thought police. Say one word and there you go. I'm getting close to Gansevoort Street. I think the Gansevoort Hotel is over there. So wait, so where is the entrance though to this on Gansevoort Street? I'm gonna have to, I gotta be near it. This is close to the end of the High Line. I think this is the Whitney Museum down here, which is at the end of the High Line as far as I know. They are pretty frequently expanding it, like making it longer. It used to be elevated subway train that was closed for a real long time, and then maybe like, I guess 10 years ago or something like that, they turned it into a park, and it's a cool one. Won't say it if you hear it. Won't say what? Called out the Jawas. I don't know if he called them out so much as he said, yeah, I mean, if I say it, then I'll get canceled. But he made some pretty wild claims. I don't think I know enough about them to necessarily agree. But even if I dislike him, I don't think the guy should be fired or canceled. I just don't listen to shows with people who say things I don't like, which, by the way, there are a lot of them. The View says a lot of stupid stuff that I don't agree with, but I don't see any of those dopes getting canceled. I say let Nick Cannon say whatever he wants to say. And, don't fire him unless people say, hey, we're not watching his show anymore. This, I believe, is the entrance. There's a line, and I guarantee they're going to make you wear a mask. What the hell is up with the line? I'm not waiting in a line. This is a police car. Oh my God. You can't come up for this reason, that reason, and the other reason. So we're down here in the meatpacking district. All these fancy stores and clubs used to be meatpacking places. This is not an entrance, or it is?
Go straight down to Washington Street.
Yeah?
Make a right, go 3 blocks down.
3 blocks down, okay. So the Gansevoort Hotel is down over here somewhere, but that's not the entrance. Yeah, so we've got Giorgio Armani and fancy stuff like this. They're already going out of business. One of these things used to be like a Levi's store, maybe that I'm just walking past. Diane von Furstenberg. Oh, look, RBG. Did people see that? What's going on with her? She was hospitalized the other day. I don't know if I believe that she's even still alive from the last time she was hospitalized. Mask exemption letter. Right, so that's where they show us your papers. I mean, yeah, look at all these places there are business. There's a Tesla store over here. So this is like a really super fancy area of New York now. Like when I was in college, this was all like sketchy. You would not come down here. And nothing but nightclubs and bars and expensive stores. And if people want to buy a Tesla, I didn't look at this today. I'm not really like a stock person, but I have been aware that Tesla stock is going absolutely berserk. I guess people could go buy a Tesla, car that drives on sunshine. That's interesting too, because there's no car dealerships really, certainly not down here in New York, so that's interesting. This is the Standard Hotel. Same company as the one in California, where, there's one in Hollywood. Well, there's one downtown Hollywood, and then there's one on Sunset, I think. So that's the same company. I've not actually been into this one in New York. And everybody knows that there's rumors of Adam Schiff having something to do with the pool and acid at the Standard Hotel and that helicopter crash. Some people were sending me emails that they were seeing moderators in the YouTube chat. I do not have any moderators. So if you see one, that is some sort of an accident. People were speculating that perhaps there was hacking of the YouTube channel going on. I don't know how that could work. I suppose it's possible. I have all the maximum security stuff that YouTube allows you to have. Here we see some of the meatpacking places that are still here. Beef and lamb. I do enjoy lamb, it's delicious. So I gotta be honest, I'm not exactly sure where Gansevoort Street is. The Gansevoort Hotel is over there, and this does appear to still be the High Line. I know it does run through the Standard Hotel, or the Standard Hotel was kind of built after the High Line became a park. It kind of built around it. So here's another guy who's got his dog off leash, and I'm sure he'll tell me to put on a mask. Dogs are nice, but in New York City you got to keep them on leashes. And people who don't are, demonstrating that they agree, or rather that they believe that it's their right to do whatever the hell they want, and F you to everybody else, which goes against the whole mask-wearing culture, which is your breath could kill someone's grandmother. That logic just does not work at all. If you extend that out to everything else everybody does, you then become indirectly responsible for every other person. Okay, let's hear the spiel.
Guys, just go to our website, and if you want to come back another day, you can reserve in advance, and you're good to go.
You have to make a reservation to go up?
Yeah.
What the what?
So the reason for that is because we have to have social distancing up there, and so there can be no more than 500 people on the line. So every 15 minutes, we have a certain amount of people that can go up there.
Uh-huh.
We close at 8 o'clock. Oh, please don't record me.
Who do you guys work for?
We work for the High Line.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're in public and there's cameras everywhere, you know that?
I know that, but I don't know where your camera's going, and I'm not comfortable personally being on camera.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to walk away because I'm not comfortable with what's going on here. The world has become terrible. Yeah, this is Gansevoort Street. Why didn't any of those other people tell me that you need a reservation? I just don't care that much. No point in going to the High Line. Oh, wait a minute, look at that. Ample Hills Creamery. Haven't I heard something weird about that? That's another ice cream thing that, what is with weird expensive ice cream brands? Ample Hills. There's something that I heard about that I cannot recall right now. Ample Hills. I don't know, people will look into that. So there's always a certain type of person that is hired to tell you what you can't do. And that type of person annoys me. Smells delicious out here, and it looks like they got a nice outdoor dining situation going on over there. Pastis, oh yeah. haven't been down here in a while. I haven't been anywhere in a while. I've been locked in the box for the most part. It was strange being on a little mini road trip yesterday. You know, not a lot of traffic, so that was at least all right from the standpoint of driving somewhere. But, you know, wow. Well, welcome to the land of the free and the home of the brave, where no one is free and everyone is afraid of an imaginary, sorry, not imaginary, an unscientifically proven possible array of anything from bioweapons to standard highly infectious influenza outbreak. But these tables are socially distanced for sure. We need social distancing. I hate that word. That is a stupid Orwellian phrase. It is antisocial to be distant from people. And you know what? Those people deserve to be given all the shit that I give them because they are participating in this nonsense.